Hello everybody and welcome to another Community Fortress. This one was sent in on the Discord by Maltese about 10 days ago now, but hopefully you'll understand the delay in the episode uploading as there's been some upgrades made to the show. You'll see some of those at the very end. But for right now, this fortress right in the middle of the screen is the Dwarven Fortress of the Breach of Depths. Now the Breach of Depths is a very, very deep fortress where you yourself can see just what kinds of things you can do at the very, very, very bottom of the deepest caverns in the game, essentially. So this fortress ran into frame rate problems, and I'm going to do my best to kind of assist as to some reasons that may be causing that, and also I'm going to kind of go through some design ideas that I personally would have done differently that may make the fortress run better. It's a rather small population fortress, so it makes the frame rate issues a little bit perplexing. However, to me, I think they're a little bit obvious, so hopefully we'll do our best to talk about some things that could potentially improve the frame rate by about, maybe 10 or 15 frames a second. I also have some other suspicions which are a little bit hard to tell, but we'll talk about that once we get into the fortress itself. If you would like to send in a fortress for me to have a peek at on this show, you can do that via my Discord. Just simply join the Discord down in the description of this video and go to the DF save sharing room. You'll see plenty of other people sharing their saves. Just try and do what they're doing, and if you would like me to use it in a video, just make sure that you attach down at the bottom that it's okay to use it in a video. Now, let's dive into the fortress. So now that we're in the fortress itself, you can see that we are on an ocean. Now, oceans tend to run poorly just to begin with, but oceans are beautiful and some of my favorite places to build fortresses on. Just for the example is, I'm just going to toss us over here into the ASCII mode so you can actually see the proper waves. You can see the waves slowly moving forward and then eventually crashing on the shores. It's absolutely gorgeous, but like I said, this fort is running really slowly, which it is. It runs at about 11 frames per second, and I'm going to do my best to kind of talk about why. And one of the first things that we're going to have a peek at is we're going to have a peek at this. This is a, well, shall we say waterfall thing? It goes up to about here where there's these bridges kind of blocking off the edges of it, which actually is a really neat look, if nothing else. And then over here we have this river thing. So where's the water coming from, you might wonder? Well, the water is coming from kind of a combination of places. But very quickly you'll see that the water is falling from here. And then if we go down a little further, you'll see that the water is falling all around from here, coming from up here, over this way, coming from up here, up here, up here, up here, over this way, coming from this little freshwater river. If it was coming from the ocean, it would need to be desalinated, but it's not, so should be fine. And then the water is flowing down. You can see this ramp going around the outside, which looks awesome. Lovely design, big fan of that. It slowly goes down, 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 all the way kind of through here, and you can see it gets caught at a point. More water comes dribbling in, more water comes in, and it creates this pretty cool little waterfall thing. But immediately you're going to start seeing there's water spreading over top of these walkways and this ramp setup, which is not the best for frames either, just because when they go up to 2, the dwarves start trying to path around it, and that can start causing problems. So initial notice is that is a concern to me. Then once we get a little further down, further down, further down, further down, we can see that there's this little walkway here, which does a few things. It goes all the way up, all the way up, all the way up through a lot of the areas that were dug out, then over to this little pyramid thing. Not entirely sure the purpose of that. And then there's a little tower here, which goes up this way, all the way up to the top here. I'm assuming they use this for archery or some sort of ranged squads. If we take a peek at the squads, it does appear that we have at least one Marks Dwarf squad, so I'm assuming that's the purpose of that. We can fly down again once again, follow to where we were approximately before, which was around here. And then we can follow this down, and it just kind of keeps going. And then we get to the epicness. Now have a look at this. I love this. This is gorgeous. I love these big rotating stairways, especially the fact that it's entirely enclosed and that it's got the fortifications throughout, so you can see. That's just so cool looking. That is awesome looking. Let's take a look at this. This is our prison. We've got these awesome glass bridges leading into the prison. Looks super goddamn cool. One thing I will note is if you do happen to have a vampire in your fort that is not in the prison, it might just eat your prisoners, but, who cares about that at that point, right? If we have a peek at the offices, we can see that we have the Captain of the Guard's office as well as the bedroom and their dining room. We also have this little room up here, which is assigned to, I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say that this particular dwarf is probably the Hammerer, but I could be mistaken. Anyway, there's another dwarf assigned to that who's Besmer with the numbering system in front of it, M94. So, the Dungeon Master, not the Hammerer. But still, just looks awesome. I love that setup. a huge stockpile full of food. My fortress that I've been playing recently has started to lag, and part of the reason for that I'm starting to think is because of just the amount of food in the fort. You don't need that amount of food. I mean, it's useful, but you don't need that amount. I would downsize on that regard a little bit. If we move up a layer, we can, of course, see the top side of the prison again, and obviously we're in this beautiful cavern layer with this circular structure in the middle. If we move over here onto the front of the structure and move up through it, we can see these small rooms on the sides. They do continue for quite a bit. I think part of the reason I love the design of this fortress so much is it reminds me of Krug Smash's Monster Killer, just in the way it's kind of tucked off into the caverns. It looks so goddamn cool. Then there's this kind of central glass walkway with bedrooms on either side and plenty of extra offices I'm seeing. I guess these dwarves all have home offices, or many of them can have home offices if they want. Some more bedrooms right there. Then we can scroll down a little bit. There's even more. I'm wondering if they're keeping track of them all with a spreadsheet, because all the dwarves are numbered, right? It's kind of a neat idea. And then down here we have this river. Now, this river is not too shallow, not too deep, and kind of flows down here. And from what I can tell, because there's nowhere really for the water to go, it just kind of flows out into the caverns, I think? But it can't. I don't know where this water is going. Aside from that, it goes down through these vents, and then it goes down through this, and then it goes down into here, and then, well, just kind of out into this area, which could be flowing off the map, but instead it's like, once again, I don't know where this water is going. Is it bubbling up and out into here? Because if that's the case, that's going to be brutal for any frames. I don't actually know where this water is going. I've been staring at this fort for a little bit now, and I've been trying to figure it out. There's a lot of different places it could be going, but I can't, like, really determine a location where it is going. I mean, it's obviously flowing back into here. It's flowing down here. Oh, there it goes. It's going off the map down on the bottom there. So you've got all of this weird water physics going to like 8 different possible locations, but it's going. So the more I stare at this fortress, the more I come to the conclusion that what I would do if I was making a fortress like this is I would give myself the ability to turn this off, because I am convinced that this is the reason for the frames. And I don't know how to just like point at it and be like, this is how you fix it, because there's water going 11,000 different directions. There's water blocking pathing in multiple places, and that's what's going to hurt your frames. And there's water flowing and flooding a cavern layer, from what I can tell, because it is filling. It's flooding from somewhere. I don't know where, because there's also a fountain back here. Is it flooding from this side? I don't know. There's too many bridges. And there's also this set up here, which is draining water down into here, which is then also being pumped back up through here, I think. Which then seems to just kind of go to about here, which then goes out into here, which then goes back down through here. Yeah, there's a lot here. And the more I stare at this, the more I'm like, yeah, I wish that I had a way to turn all of this water off, because I want to know what the frame rate in this fort would be with the water turned off. Because like a setup like this is glorious and cool as hell looking, but there is so much physics and so much pathing and so many things happening in this fort at all times that, I'll be honest, looking at it, I wouldn't even know where to start. But let's just do a bit of a tour, because this fortress is cool as hell looking, and I think it deserves to be shown. So we have this really cool kind of series of bridges and walkways over here, going through various locations. Over here in the corner, we have a trapped forgotten beast, which from what I can tell, they trapped using this little walkway here, which seems to lead into the fortress. There's also 2 more forgotten beasts up here in this maniacal death chamber, and then there's also this defensive structure here with 3 separate ballistas. There's yet even more like fountains and mist generators. We have our like guild halls. We have multiple barracks, multiple guild halls, a giant well-appointed hospital, more offices for somebody of importance probably. Yeah, this whole fort's super cool. Regardless of the places where I look at it and I go, man, I wish I could just turn the water off. Here's a defensive area for defending the underground. I love all of this dense umber lichen. It just looks so cool. There's walls in the caverns with little ramps going up the sides. It's all secured and well designed. There's a small army of fish people over here, I would, unless they're tame, which I don't actually think they are, I would dump some lava in here because you do have close access to lava. I would either trap and kill all of these, or I would dump something on them because there's probably stealth cave fish people that you can't see, unless you're using this as like target practice, which is very, very possible. But I'm not seeing a lot of bodies in here, so unless they're hidden, which a good deal of them appear to be, yeah, I wouldn't, I don't exactly know how you would, you know, completely enclose that. And there, who knows how many things could be spawning in here unless you've limited the numbers. So I would be careful with that. Then there's a whole bunch of dead bits of forgotten beasts down here, which is really cool. Just bits and pieces, you know, that's all that you need, right? Who needs entire forgotten beasts when you can have bits and pieces of forgotten beasts? More levers and things than I can really wrap my mind around in a quick fort tour, even though I looked through the fort already before I started recording. Up around to the back, we have this area over here. I'm not even sure what it's for. But yeah, this is a cool as hell, complicated as hell, dense as hell looking little fortress. I really, really, really like the look of it, especially this cool-ass center shaft. And frankly, yeah, this is cool. I just wish that there was a way to turn this water off. That is my biggest grip with this fort, and I just wish there was a big old floodgate lever somewhere, because I'm scrolling up. I'm just going to look one last time to see if I could just turn this water off. Where exactly is all of this water coming from? It's coming from up here? Yeah, so if there was like a floodgate right there, unless this is all an aquifer, if there was just like a layer where I could just like block all of this with a drawbridge or something, that to me is like, I think the death nail on this fort, because it just needs a way to block all of this water from flowing. Just a way to block all of this water from flowing, like a bridge right there, some sort of lock, and you could pretty easily, I think, figure out the issues with this fortress and improve from there. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you would like to see more videos like it, there's a very large playlist of them on the YouTube channel now. I'm going through and trying my best to get caught up, and I just want to say, if you want to see this fort in 3D, just wait until the end of the credits, and if you would like to support these videos directly, you can do that on Patreon. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.